Awesome. Welcome to our first ever Hero Boost video series here for Team World Vision San Antonio. My name is Brian Frazier from Team World Vision as we prepare for the 2016 San Antonio Marathon and Half Marathon on December 4th. And I am so excited about this because what is the Hero Boost video series anyways? Now, many of you have set this humongous hero-sized, hero-level goal of $3,000 to go after and provide clean water for 60 kids. And I was thinking to myself, we need to have a way to come together and inspire each other, equip each other, so that we can go out and have that confidence to go in and hit that goal. And so I asked myself, well, why instead of necessarily bringing all these ideas and overloading ourselves with all these concepts, what if instead I invited my heroes to come in and chat with me each week and hear what inspires them, who are their heroes, and then ask them to come in and help equip us so that we can go out and get these goals together. And so that's what we've got planned for this year. I am so excited. So whether it's professional runners, whether it's professional coaches, local pastors in the San Antonio area, or it's some amazing testimonies of participants there in the San Antonio area or outside in the greater Team World Vision family, you guys are going to be so inspired to come in and hear these discussions and hear these chats as we have gotten a fantastic feedback and people raising their hands to come and be a part of this. And so that's what this is really about. This journey that each of us are on is not a measurement of how good we are at something, whether it's how fast we can run or how much money we can raise. It's really an expression of what God is doing in our hearts. And that's what these videos are really going to be about. And my prayer is that God would do a work to make us all heroes by doing that work in our hearts. And really, that is my personal story. For today's first video, I would like to share with you. It's just going to be me here, and I wanted to share a little bit about my story, how I came to be a part of Team World Vision. And in order to do that, it's really a story very similar to the ones that I'm hearing as I was meeting with people at various church launches and getting feedback and talking to a lot of you. And that really is the very first race I ever did with Team World Vision was in Dallas. We did the Dallas White Rock Marathon. And I was currently working for World Vision. I had already worked in India and serving the poor there through microfinance work. And so I had a very real understanding of what poverty was and had a heart to serve people. But when it came to fundraising, I was so scared and I did not like it whatsoever. And in the end, in that race, I got a grand whopping total of 1 donation. And not exactly something I'm proud about. But what happened is a year later, I got invited to be a part of another Team World Vision race. And in preparing for that, I read a book. I read a book about a man by the name of Lopez Limon, who we partner with and at Team World Vision. And he grew up as a lost boy in South Sudan, lived most of his life in a refugee camp in Kenya after he escaped certain death in his village when it was soldiers came in and put him in a camp there. And he was eventually adopted by American parents. And it was his story that cut me to the core and changed my perspective. Even after having worked with the poor firsthand, here I was reading a book and I was on an airplane crying my eyes out as I was understanding that I had to do more and that I could do more. And it was through his personal testimony of what God had done in his life that it became real for me. And ever since reading that book, I had this sense of urgency that I needed to do more than what I had been doing before. And so it was through that moment that I came away and just said, what can I do? And I am terrible at sales. I had, if you look at my previous jobs in my career and my life, I avoided any opportunity to have to ask people whether it was selling something or getting to them to be a part of something. And that is, and that continues still today. I may be in front of the camera right now and smiling and be able to deliver words, but when it comes to any type of sales stuff, I've always found that unless I truly believed in something and it was truly in my heart, I could never get in front of someone or explain something and ask them to come and be a part of it too. And that all changed after this moment and coming on with Team World Vision, and still as just a runner and not on staff. And so it was through that my first race that God really lit that switch on, and it was through just some very easy things that I'm going to share with you guys today, that my very first year, or I should say my second event, but that first event where I had that light switched on inside my heart, that God was able to raise $24,000 through me in that event. And really, just as I say this now, I get emotional because it was not about me at all. It was completely about God had done a work in my heart. And so let me just share a few of those. I'm going to just share 5 tips, really easy, that as you consider this, be thinking about how these can apply to you. And before I get into the 5 tips, as I have been saying already all along, is that this, in the end, is about your journey, whether it's through the training and as you're training for either a half marathon or a marathon, and that work that God is doing in you to overcome this huge challenge to go in and on race day, finish the race. It is not any different in the work that God is then taking us on this journey, that He wants us to then supply the needs of so many kids on the other side of the planet that are in great need. And clean water is such an amazing solution for that World Vision then can act as a conduit through that solution to do amazing works in the lives of these communities. So let me here just take a moment and share these 5 tips that are going to be really easy. The first one is that I wanted to share is, first, just pray that God would do a work in your heart, connect you to the work that World Vision is doing in such a way that every day that you're getting outside, walking out your doors and going for a run or going for a walk, that it takes meaning, because it is in fact doing a work on the other side of the world. The next thing I wanted to share is go to the fundraising tips that is located on your webpage. So when you go to your webpage on Team World Vision, you're going to look under resources, which will be on the right side of your page. And then once you click on resources, there'll be a bunch of different cool things you can click on, one of which is your fundraising tips. There, you're being able to see so many things, but rather than being overwhelmed, take a look through and just see what you think is interesting to you. Nobody is an expert at all these things, not any of us on staff, certainly, but we have found our own ways, our own niches. We're all different here too, just like you are, in what is successful and what isn't. So after you've taken that, the most important tip that I can give you, that I think every single person should do, is to make a list. When I made my first list of people, I thought through all the people that I knew, no matter how much I thought that they would be interested in being a part of this or how much I thought they might donate, didn't matter. I made a list of people that cared about me, whether it's my family, my friends, my coworkers. And over time, what I found is that these people were so inspired by what I was doing that they wanted to come and be a part of this journey. So my list grew. Then I began to add people I had gone to school with 20, 30 years before, I hadn't seen in forever, to coworkers, to friends of friends, to you name it. people who as I began on this journey, I began to realize that they wanted to be a part too. And so after I made that list, I then, for the third tip that I have for you today, is that personally reaching out to people in ways that will help them come and be a part of it are very important. So the easiest way to invite someone to be a part of your journey is face-to-face, is to tell your story in a very personal way. That is the most powerful way that you can do it. And the next best way you can do it is by actually sending a snail mail letter in the mail to people. They are going to get that letter. You're going to tell your story of why you're doing this, why it's so crazy, why you would do such a crazy thing, and the work that God is doing in you and using you. And they're going to have that letter. It's going to sit on their counter next to the fridge, and it's going to sit there until they make a decision, whether or not to donate or to pray for you, or to give you a call and tell you how much they're inspired. That is the next best way. You can also email people, certainly, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And you can certainly do a bunch of cool things, whether it's through Facebook, texting, and all that. But most important thing is that unless you reach out to somebody personally and address them personally and ask them to come and be a part of your journey, you cannot expect people to come and donate to you. So no matter what you do or bring attention to this, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, any of that, unless you go in and make that ask to someone, you can't expect them to be a part of it. And these are all things that I have found. The next tip that I have is that you don't realize it, but your story is a whole lot more inspiring than you think it is. And that is even still true for me today. As I go out and follow God's leading and His calling on my life, there are other people watching you as you're doing this, and they're super inspired to see what God is doing. Even if you don't think it, and even if you don't feel that love every single day from people, even if you make a post on Facebook and you're not getting any likes on it or whatever, you don't realize that your testimony of God's work in your life is having an impact on other people. And by not asking them to come and be a part of this, you are robbing them of that joy. And I have found the impact that we can have by sharing our testimony, and this journey that we're on with others is also going to bring them closer to God. And this is our opportunity. And by asking them to be a part of that, you are allowing them to do it. The last tip that I'm going to offer you guys today, and that is just to keep it steady. Whether it's emails that you've sent to people, or maybe you've sent that letter and you haven't heard back from them, keep continuing the communication. Just because someone hasn't emailed you back or let you know that they're praying for you or they haven't donated, it's okay, because their lives may be busy just as our lives are busy. But as long as you keep that communication steady, keep them up to date. Create a prayer group just for people to come and pray for you, and keep that communication and those updates. How's your training been going this week? What challenges have you encountered? What did you learn new about the work that World Vision is doing this week? Share that stuff with them. Give them things to pray for, and keep them engaged in your journey. You're going to find that they're going to want to come and be a part and support you in ways that you had never expected. So I hope that all this information was super helpful. These tips are probably not the most amazing out of the box thinking, the super surprising stuff that you might have been expecting. It's all very practical things that do require you to just sit down, make a list, and begin to reaching out to people. And you will find that taking that step of faith, inviting people to come and be a part of your journey, is going to allow you to experience God in a very new and an amazing way as you prepare for the marathon. So let's just to recap, Hero Boost video series, this is it. And we are going to have some amazing guests come and inspire you, my heroes, whether they are other people that have been involved with Team World Vision, some professional athletes, some professional coaches, some amazing pastors in the local San Antonio area. Even you, as you're watching, we'll be asking many of our participants from San Antonio to be a part too, and all to inspire us as we go on and do this thing together, because that is the easiest way, and we need each other. If you're like me, I need you guys to come alongside all of us on this journey as we go and we seek the face of Jesus together and the work that he's doing here in our hearts, in our communities, in our church bodies, and then again in the lives of the communities where World Vision is working and implementing these amazing solutions through its water programs. Thank you so much for getting this far in my video. I cannot wait until the next one comes out. Thanks a lot. Bye.